She said I was boring, predictable, the kind of man who made her feel safe, but not alive. So I stopped trying to be her piece and showed someone else what it felt like to be seen. Her sister, to be exact. They say the worst kind of pain isn't the sharp sting, it's the dull ache that lingers, the slow burn of being taken for granted. That's what I lived with, day in and day out, for the last 8 months of my relationship with Alyssa, my ex. She used to tell me I was too predictable, too safe, that I lacked danger, no edge, like I was some old flannel shirt in a world full of leather jackets. She wanted thrill, mystery, excitement, as she put it, like that was something you could order on Amazon and have delivered by Friday. But here's the thing. I gave her stability. I gave her trust. I gave her every damn part of me. And she tossed it aside like yesterday's takeout, still warm but already unwanted. So yeah, when she said I wasn't exciting, I didn't argue. I just nodded. Then I booked a flight to Vegas with her sister. But let me back up. Alyssa and I met 4 years ago. Summer concert, local bar, cover band blaring Fleetwood Mac. She was all red lipstick and wild eyes, dancing like the music owed her something. I was the guy in boots with a beer, trying to stay out of the sweat and chaos. She bumped into me, spilled half her drink down my shirt, laughed like it was the funniest thing in the world. And that was it. For a while, it was fireworks. She liked my steadiness, said it grounded her. I liked her fire, the way she made every room feel like a scene from a movie. But the thing about fireworks is, they're beautiful and bright, until they burn out. The shift was gradual. One minute we were planning a trip to Oregon. The next, she was scrolling through TikToks during dinner, barely looking up when I asked how her day was. I'd bring home flowers, nothing fancy, just some daisies or sunflowers, and she'd leave them on the counter until they wilted. She said I was too routine. That life with me felt like a rerun. And then one night, mid-argument over nothing, I think it was about me forgetting to get oat milk, she dropped it. You're just not exciting, Ryan. I don't even know who you are anymore. That word, exciting, it echoed. Like it wasn't just criticism, it was a sentence. A final one. I didn't yell, didn't cry. I just nodded. And I swear to God, something in me snapped clean in half that night. Not with rage, with clarity. Alyssa didn't want me. Not really. She wanted a version of me that didn't exist. Some outlaw fantasy. A man who'd light her cigarette with the same hand he used to crash hearts. She wanted danger without damage, thrill without consequence. So I gave her what she wanted, just not in the way she expected. It was 3 weeks later. I hadn't told her I was leaving. We were in that weird stage, technically still together, but barely speaking. Sleeping in the same bed, back to back, miles apart. Her sister, Marissa, called one night. Said she needed help moving a dresser. Alyssa was out, some friend's birthday, I wasn't invited to, so I drove over. Marissa was younger, 2 years, sweeter, quieter, but sharp. She always saw more than she let on. And that night, as we maneuvered that clunky dresser down her narrow staircase, she paused and said, "You okay?" I must have looked confused, because she added, "You've got that look, like someone who's holding a scream in their throat." I chuckled, said something dismissive, probably, but she didn't drop it. "She's not fair to you, Ryan. You know that, right?" I didn't respond, just kept lifting. But something cracked open that night. Something small, quiet. A realization that maybe someone saw me after all. The Vegas idea came to me at 2 a.m. on a random Wednesday. I couldn't sleep. Alyssa had come home reeking of tequila and excuses. She passed out on the couch, makeup smudged, phone buzzing with a text from a name I didn't recognize. "Can't wait to see you again," winky face. I didn't check it. I didn't need to. I just stared at her for a long time. And in my chest, something turned cold. By noon the next day, I had 2 round-trip tickets booked. Vegas. 3 nights. No plans. No schedule. Just chaos. I didn't invite Alyssa. I invited Marissa. And the wildest part? She said yes. It wasn't some revenge scheme. I didn't have a playbook or a fantasy of rubbing it in Alyssa's face. I was just tired, bone-deep tired, of feeling like the steady, boring guy who never got chosen. Marissa saw me. She listened. She didn't ask for thrill. She asked for truth. And I gave it to her. We landed in Vegas on a Friday night. Lights everywhere, the whole damn city pulsing like a heartbeat. Marissa wore a black dress and a laugh that sounded like freedom. We hit a rooftop bar first. Just drinks and stories and hours of not feeling invisible. At one point, She leaned across the table and said, "You know what I always wondered? What? If someone like you ever gets mad?" I raised an eyebrow. Why would I be mad? She sipped her cocktail. Because she doesn't see what she has. That would make me furious. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. She already knew. We didn't cross any lines that first night. No kissing. No confessions. Just two people leaning towards something they didn't quite understand yet. But I'll tell you this. I hadn't laughed like that in months. Real laughter. The kind that comes from your gut, not your throat. The kind that makes you remember who you used to be before someone told you you weren't enough. The next day, we went skydiving. She dared me. Said if Alyssa wanted thrill, I should finally see what that felt like. And let me tell you, nothing compares. Falling through the sky with nothing but air and trust. It's terrifying, exhilarating, cleansing. When we landed, Marissa grabbed my hand and said, "You looked alive up there." I said, "That's because I was." She didn't let go. We didn't come back the same people. That's what I remember most. Marissa and I didn't sleep together in Vegas, not in the way people would assume. But we shared something that felt more intimate than sex. Laughter, confessions, silence that wasn't heavy, glances that said what our mouths didn't dare to. And when we flew back Sunday night, just before landing, she reached across the armrest, held my hand, and whispered, "Whatever this becomes, thank you for letting me be part of your peace." That was the moment I knew I couldn't go back. Not just to Alyssa, but to the version of myself I was when I let her define my worth. The apartment felt different the second I walked in. Cold, dim. Alyssa was on the couch, half asleep, TV flickering on her face. She looked up, blinked. "Where the hell have you been?" Her voice had no real emotion, just a dull thud of irritation. I set my bag down quietly. "Vegas." She sat up like I slapped her. "What? Vegas?" I needed space. She blinked again, her mind working to catch up. "You didn't tell me. You didn't ask." A long silence. Then she stood, arms crossed, tension building like a storm behind her eyes. "Who did you go with?" I looked her straight in the eye. "Marissa." Dead quiet. A slow blink. Her jaw clenched. A small twitch in her right temple. "You're joking." I shook my head. And for the first time in months, maybe years, she didn't know what to say. She wasn't the one in control anymore. Her face twisted, half confusion, half anger, like a gambler who just realized she bet on the wrong hand. "You took my sister to Vegas?" I nodded once. "You said you wanted danger. Excitement. A risk," I said. "So I gave that to someone who didn't treat me like a worn-out sweatshirt." She laughed then. A harsh, sharp laugh that didn't touch her eyes. "You're so desperate to prove a point. You slept with my sister?" "I didn't sleep with her." "Right. I didn't. But I could have. And that should tell you everything." Another silence. This one heavier. Her arms dropped to her sides. She looked older suddenly. Smaller. "I never meant for you to feel like this," she said, almost a whisper. "No, you just meant to feel something. And I stopped doing that for you." She nodded. One slow, broken nod. "Are you in love with her?" That caught me off guard. Not because I was, but because I wasn't sure how close I was to it. "I'm not." But she reminded me what it feels like to be seen. That matters. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just sat back down, like someone who realized the game was over and the scoreboard wasn't in her favor. I left that night. Not because I had to, but because I was finally ready to stop performing. Marissa called the next day. I think we were both bracing for fallout. I told her what happened. She went quiet for a while. Then she said, "She'll hate me." I didn't answer. Then she added, "But I don't regret a second of it." Neither did I. We didn't rush into anything. It wasn't that kind of story. Marissa wasn't my rebound. She was my reflection, someone who saw the dents and cracks and didn't flinch. We kept in touch. Coffee here and there. A few long walks where we talked about nothing and everything. But more than that, she gave me space to rebuild myself. And that was more valuable than any fling or fantasy. Alyssa tried reaching out again. A couple of messages. One voicemail that started angry and ended with tears. I never responded. Not because I hated her, but because she only realized my worth once someone else held it with care. That's not love. That's regret in disguise. And I wasn't in the business of curing guilt anymore. Months passed. I moved into a smaller place, studio loft, lots of light. I picked up guitar again. Started volunteering Saturdays at a local shelter. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't exciting. But it was real. And one Sunday morning, just as the sun broke through the blinds, I got a text from Marissa. Coffee? Or a road trip? I smiled. Because life doesn't always give you fireworks. Sometimes it gives you a spark. And that's more than enough.